speaker for today. Please make a warm welcome for Mr. Michael O'Neill, the founder and potential candidate for the Involuntary Medication Objectors Party. Thank you.
Thank you, Danielle. Well, I'm very pleased to be here today, and we might ask why we are here. Are we here because there's some raging epidemic that's tearing Australia apart, that we all have to be vaccinated? No, we're here today because there's been a virulent, undemocratic and vilification program conducted by the Daily Telegraph, and it reminds me of a song, by Bob Dylan, Hurricane. He's got a famous line in there: "How could the life of such a man be in the palm of some fool's hand?" And when I think about it, I think of the Daily Telegraph and Claire Harvey and how she instigated this wicked action that we have to stand out here on our Sundays and protest for the very rights that our Constitution guarantee us. We have here I brought a copy of it, and it was mentioned here today, and I'm very glad it was. "The Parliament shall, subject to this Constitution, have power to make laws for the peace, order and good government of the Commonwealth with respect to the provision of a number of things," and one of them being pharmaceutical benefits. But in 1946, when this went to the referendum, because it was voted and put into our Constitution in a referendum, in fact, you might be interested to know it was 55 to 45. That's how close it got up. There's only been 8 yes votes ever got up for a constitutional change. And this one says, "but not so as to authorise any form of civil conscription." Absolutely none. So this is a violation of our Constitution. That's section 51. It's also a violation of section 116 on religious grounds, because there are many of you that may have a religious objection, and that's your right to have it, whatever your religion is, whether your church believes it or not. And while we're talking about this, Tony Abbott is the government of the Prime Minister of a free country. We are not part of his church. We don't worship and follow him by faith. We vote them in. We have a constitution that guarantees us liberty and freedom of choice. And we're seeing today a destruction of that liberty that's mind-blowing. It couldn't have been imagined. Our constitutional framers would be in horror if they saw where we are today. It's just such a shame. Now, we have anti-vilification laws, but I'm just staggered at the vilification that is taking place against loving, caring, balanced, wonderful, salt-of-the-earth Australian families who have made an informed choice not to vaccinate their children. It's just unconscionable. It's against the law, yet it's just happening right in front of us. We have a media. The media's job is to report the news, but we now have a situation where the media is making the news. It's dictating in Canberra. We do know that Tony Abbott is beholden to the Daily Telegraph and the Murdoch press for his position. It's a fact. If it wasn't for their great campaign to put the Liberals back in, they would not have got over the line at the last election. And he knows he's not going to bite the hand that feeds him. So we've started a party, the Involuntary Medication Objectors Party, and it's our purpose to field at least myself and possibly other candidates at the next federal election in the Senate, where we can have a voice inside the Great House, where we can be like the terrier dog that yaps and yaps and yaps, and that we will protest when we see anything that reeks of the loss of freedom, the loss of the Australian way. We celebrate at the moment Anzacs. Oh, it's all wonderful. We're 100 years since our Anzac. The Anzacs would be in horror if they saw what was happening in our country today. These young men, they gave their life for freedom. We're now giving our freedom for our life. It's not right. We need to take back the freedoms. We're going to ask you today, we're here today, we're very happy to support this. In fact, I didn't need to be in it. I don't need to go to Parliament for the money. I don't need it for occupation, I don't need it for recreation. But we value the freedom that this country offers and that I was born into. We're prepared to give our life and our time and energy to fight for your human rights and for the rights of your children, for these wonderful children. I have a child that I consider was slightly damaged by a vaccine until I got the good sense to stop that nonsense. And we're here that you don't have to go through this again. Now, we have a couple of people here today, this guy over here and this guy here. We'd like to ask if you think you'd like to support this, consider joining our party. It won't cost you anything today. We need the numbers to take this to Canberra. We need numbers. Fill out the form, join, and we're prepared to take up the fight for you. Well, thank you all.
Thank you.
It's a privilege to be here. God bless you all.